Welcome to the Perp Sports Media Podcast. I am Hookshot Drew. This is your co-host T and Q.
What up? What up?
What's going on?
NBA playoffs underway. We just saw Game 7 last night between the Orlando Magic and the I'm drawing a blank. Help me, guys. What was the other team?
The
Cavs.
Cavaliers.
Cavaliers, exactly. So early on, they fell behind at least 20 points in the first half, but Donovan Mitchell just went on fire and they came back and won that game. The only Game 7 of the series. What did you guys think of that matchup between them two?
It was tough. I think Donovan Mitchell started off a little slow. Well, I'm not gonna say I think. I know he started off slow. He was shooting terrible at first, and he got it going, and that's all she wrote. And honestly, I wasn't a big believer in Donovan Mitchell, but I'm starting to see, like in playoff games, go get a bucket. I'm him. Donovan Mitchell has that it factor. Like I got to give it to him. Paolo though also had the it factor, but to me, from what I noticed, the Magic can't shoot, and I think that's been a problem. The commentators were saying that's been a problem for them all year, and that I think that's why they have interest this summer in getting some shooters on that team for Paolo. But that was their problem. They could have hit any shots down the stretch.
This has nothing to do with nothing, but I think they should change the jerseys.
What?
Hear me out. Hear me out. The Orlando Magic are on the rise, and if you really thinking about it, when you think about Orlando, you don't even think about that it's in Florida. It's a nice place to be. They need some fire jerseys, bro, so they can get somebody to come over there. Don't nobody want to play for Orlando, but if you get some fire jerseys along with this young team, I think they get some shooters.
I think that's a misconception. It's in Florida, and I think people do want to play in Florida. I'm gonna be honest. It's a good weather. Like I don't see why you wouldn't. I mean, I guess playing for the Orlando Magic isn't like playing for the Lakers or the Celtics
The Miami Heat.
or the Heat. Of course, everyone was. Do you really want to go to the Heat though? Let's talk about that. Do you?
Why would you not?
Heat
Miami,
culture, bro.
The Miami Heats.
This think about this, and I'm only saying this because of the new age media or the new age NBA players. Would you want to go to Miami? Possibly have to super work your tail off for I don't know 15 million around 15 million, right? Or you can go to Charlotte. Yeah, I might not make the playoffs, but 15 million, I ain't got to work as hard for it. You think some of the players are like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Charlotte because I do. I think that Heat culture that you got to work hard for this 15 million when I could just go to Charlotte, lose every game for that. I think some players are like, I'll just go to Charlotte. I'll be honest with you.
You're a coward.
I do think some players don't.
You're a coward.
Oh, damn.
I didn't say I would do it. I just said I think some of the players would do it. Like I honestly do. I think I don't think some of these players love it. I think I woke up one day and I was 6'8" and I could dribble a ball and jump out the gym. And now they want to give me 15 million to do this. I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think every last person in the NBA loves it. So I mean that's just my thought on it.
I do think he's onto something with the jerseys, though. I haven't really seen Magic change anything. They seem like they've had the same stuff since Dwight Howard played there. So I mean, even some new threads, jazz up the arena a little bit. They can get a true all-star to come there, a good shooter. I mean, they have a young team, but I mean, this is all almost exclusively homegrown guys. So we'll see what comes for them.
I think that's one of the best ways to build a team, though, is homegrown like that. I think they have built they've been bad for a very long time, so they've gotten a lot of top picks, and that's what happens. Kind of like the Thunder. Like, eventually you figure it out. But I do think if they had a little bit of a rebranding, that it would just give them, like, a little bit of flair. Like, because yes, you should know that Orlando is in Florida, but when you think about the Orlando Magic, you really don't think that they're even in Florida when they first come to mind.
No, not over the Miami Heat. I would agree with that for the most part, anyways. And when people move to Florida, they're gonna want to go to Miami. I mean, maybe Orlando has the parks though. They have some stuff there. It's not like there's nothing there.
Disneyland
and SeaWorld too.
Never been.
So you mentioned the Thunder. I want to talk about them next. So we got the Thunder. They just kind of waxed the Pelicans 4-0 in their series without Zion. Zion really looked like he was turning a quarter with the progress in his career. So to see him go down was not great. But man, the baby Thunder 2.0, as I'm taking and calling them, nothing but homegrown talent, nothing but future All-Stars and maybe even MVP candidates. What do you guys think their chances are now? I mean, they're going against my Mavericks, of course, but how many rings do you realistically see this team competing for over the next few years while they can still keep these guys under relatively cheap team-friendly deals?
Surely a couple. I mean, again, they have been on the bottom tier of the league for a long time. So those picks are finally accumulated to some pretty good players. Chet Holmgren, even in his rookie year, looks like to be a solid player. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he is one of those tiers as the Anthony Edwards, the Jason Tatums, the Jamal Murrays of the world that is just like taking the next step in the next torch. So I really think the Thunder, and we forget they still have more picks. Like they have so many more picks that they could either trade or even draft good players. So the Thunder, they got a nice future ahead of them. Honestly, I think they can compete for at least for the next like 5 to 6 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know, man. It's kind of scary because I think the Thunder, let's say they stay healthy for the next 5 years and they keep this team together for maybe three of those, they could probably win one or two if they reach their potential, right? Like Chet Holmgren stays healthy and he stays playing at an all-star level consistently. Shea stays playing at an MVP level. Jalen stays playing at like a star level. Like if they keep having their players locked in playing the way, because they have, I think a big thing about their team is the continuity. That's all you hear when you read about them or hear someone talk about the Thunder. They love playing with each other. They're all really young. They're all dogs. They're all, you know what I mean? Like it seems like they're very well put together as far as like a unit. And I think if you can keep that together, if you can stay healthy, sorry, I'm a little long-winded with this, but if you can stay
No, you're
healthy,
good.
it bodes a recipe for success. You're young, you have the continuity, and you can get up and down the floor like crazy. That's kind of scary, man. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, I'm wondering how what people are going to think if the Thunder actually do take it all the way with guys like Josh Giddey on their team and how he beat the allegations. But Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, I mean we all the names, and then SGA right in front of him is a front MVP front runner. It's kind of crazy to see how they built that team in such a short period of time, and it feels like yesterday Westbrook was all alone being the triple double man, and here they got a whole brand new guys. I mean, I don't think anyone's left over, and yet they're such a powerful team. And just a few years later, so I wanted to go over next. Besides them, we're gonna go over the next round of matchups afterwards, but for now, we're gonna go over just the first round and how they all went, and then we'll go over the round two matchups. But
Let's
next
do
up,
it.
I want to talk about the Knicks and the Sixers and how that series went. It was a pretty much close. Almost every game in that series was close, but the Knicks came out 4-2 ahead. Joel Embiid, of course, everyone's going to talk about the injury that that he had, and did you guys hear that he had a case of Bell's palsy that he
Yeah,
discovered in that series? Isn't that wild?
They
the
did say that.
video, yeah, it went viral of his eye like twitching and stuff. And a lot of people on social media were like super worried about it. And I think that's why they had to announce that he had it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people were like, "What is going on? Like, why is this video of his eye twitching circulating?" Like,
Yeah, he was
it,
looking a little googly eyed.
yeah, it looked crazy. But I mean, luckily, I mean, from what I read, it could be treated. Just need some time. So hopefully he's back next season healthy. You know what I'm saying? I like Joel Embiid, but it seems like the injuries, no matter what they are, whether they be this, something else, they kind of have plagued him at the beginning of his career. So I hope he can get to a point, kind of like Anthony Davis this year, where he's healthy, or at least the injuries are less. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Less, you know, I wouldn't say freaking because Anthony Davis was hurt for sure, but it wasn't as public. Like, oh, I need 2 weeks, I need a month, I need this. You know what I mean? He played most of the season. So I hope Joel can do the same thing next year.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest thing with Joel Embiid is trying to stay healthy. He has been injury prone frequently throughout his career, And I think more than anything this year, I think it's solidified that if the Sixers ever want to get where they want to get to, they're gonna have to find a way to get Joel Embiid to be fully healthy in the playoffs. I think their seeding in the regular season shouldn't matter anymore going forward. They should look to try to build. You're gonna have that Tobias money this summer, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with that and who they bring in with that money. But I would try to build around Tobias. I mean, build around Tyrese, build around Joel, try to keep him healthy, and I think they can get to where they want to be if because he's an MVP level player. If you can get him to the playoffs healthy, man, he really can make a big impact. It's just he hasn't been healthy throughout the duration of his career, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, yeah.
And what a tough fought series. I mean, of course, Sixer fans have been waiting for a championship, and I honestly on social media have been giving them a hard time in years past just for how good some of the teams have been, and they haven't made it. But this year, I think they should be proud of I mean, that's a first round exit. No one's going to be ecstatic about it, but considering the injuries, considering every game was close, considering what it took to eliminate them this time, I wouldn't really be too broken up about it. But they do lose in six to Jalen Brunson and the Knicks, so it's time to repack and reshuffle, and it'd be interesting to see who they bring in. I mean, I don't think they're going to blow it up completely, but they have to consider bringing in somebody else to help them out now. I mean, Tobias Harris was ice cold in that closeout game 6. I don't even think he scored a point, if I remember correctly.
He had
Yeah,
zero.
Yeah.
yeah. And Tobias is older. I don't want to. Don't get me wrong. I there's a couple players in this playoffs where they're they're getting dumped on, bro, because they didn't have great playoff series. And I think in Tobias's situation, I think it's all situational. I think the 76ers situation is not necessarily the best situation for him anymore, even though you would think like, yo, they got Joel, they got this, they got that. But like, I don't want to, I hate that people are dumping on Tobias for having one bad series. Like this just clearly wasn't his series. Like, let's say they moved on and he might have exploded in the second round, but we'll never know. So that kind of sucks to see Tobias. I hope Tobias can find a good home after this as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's plenty of players that just have a rough stretch of games, and they're not looked at as, oh, this guy is just not a good fit. I mean, for
Yeah.
instance, in the Cavaliers series, Darius Garland struggled at several different points in the
Mm,
series, and especially in Game 7.
yeah.
But you saw when he finally hit that three at the end of the game, they all embraced him. They were like, that's what part of it. You got to uplift your teammates and just to show that you have that confidence in them, even when they're shaky a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. That's why you love sports, right? You know what I'm saying? You could be down 1 second and you're one nice play away from being on top of the world. It's a beautiful roller coaster.
So one series, speaking of roller coaster, a team that to me was primed to be a dynasty. I really, really felt that way about this team. And suddenly they have not really done anything since they won the championship. The Pacers and the Bucks series. The Pacers won in 6 games. Closeout game 6 wasn't even close. Giannis, of course, didn't play the entire series. Second straight year that Giannis is not able to play in the elimination series. Yeah, I really felt the Bucks were a dynasty type level team, and just 3 years later, they have struggled to even get back to the finals or to even get out of the first round. But Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers look for real. I mean, I've given Rick Carlisle plenty of flack as a Maverick fan, but I can't lie. He looks like he has that team dialed in. I can't be a hater on this one. The Pacers look like a strong team right now.
All that offense, all that offense.
Yeah, the Pacers have the number one offense in the league, and they are the number one in pace as well. So they get up and down. They use their youth to their advantage, and they do have some good players. Miles Turner is a good player. Tyrese Halliburton is honestly he's a little bit streaky when it comes to shooting, but he's one of the best young point guards in the league. A true point guard can average 10 assists in his sleep. So me loving point guards myself, I always respect that. But I do think Rick Carlisle again. I think he's one of those coaches who had to reinvent himself, but he's a really good coach. I really think moving on and just having a new fresh sometimes you just need a new place, a new surrounding where you're believed in and encouraged to do you. And I think Rick Carlisle is thriving in one of those situations.
Would you take Hallie over Kyrie Irving?
Why would you even ask that question?
Answer the question. I'll let you know why.
No, I would
You,
not.
what about you, Drew?
I might honestly because he's young and we don't know what his ceiling is going to be yet. But that's just me.
That's a good
Team,
point.
Team USA chose Halliburton over Kyrie Irving. That's why I asked. I was just wondering.
Who
To
told you
me,
that?
to me, that's not a huge surprise though. I mean, it could be a surprise, but I don't see it
I
as a surprise.
I think Kyrie. I think they didn't choose Kyrie because Kyrie's wild. But I
I think
think
so too, but they have to travel to all those countries. They're not going to want to take this guy who doesn't want the COVID vaccine.
okay, yeah, you're right about that. But in a vacuum, choosing Halliburton over Kyrie right now after watching what we're watching from him, crazy.
I mean, yeah, as a Maverick fan, yeah, definitely Kyrie Irving's going off right now. But I mean,
Crazy.
Halliburton's young. He's a true number one for a really strong Pacers team. So I mean, I could see why Team USA and he's there's not really a true point guard anymore. You don't see Rajon Rondo's walking around, but if there ever was one, to me, Halliburton is as close as you're going to get to a true point guard. And they
That's
want
true.
somebody who can facilitate. And not that Kyrie can't, but as T just said, he can average 10 in his sleep. So you want to just give up all the give up and set up all these superstar players. I think he's a little bit better at it than Kyrie is. They didn't pick Halliburton up to drop 30, most likely.
No, yeah, no. I was just wondering. But I think this Pacer team, I think it's a good team, man. Like you got Halliburton and Siakam spearheading it, and then you got Rick Carlisle back there for better or worse. I know you as a Mav fan, you're like worse,
No,
but I mean,
he's doing well.
yeah, I was gonna say he's doing really well with the Pacers, man. He's got them as the number one offense. Like that's, I mean, I'm sure Halliburton has a lot to do with that. He's talked in interviews about how he's always wanted to get up and down the floor, and he feels like that's where he's at his best. But I mean, the Pacers they deserve this one. They just came in and did what they were supposed to do. And I know we want to say like, oh, the Bucks should have won, the Bucks should have won, but they weren't healthy. Let's be honest about that. No Giannis in this series, really. I think since what game 1, or did he?
He never
He didn't
played.
even play. Yeah, he
He
didn't
was
even play.
third to last regular season game. He was done for the rest of the year.
That's what I thought because I was trying to recall the game and I was like, I don't remember seeing him at all. But yeah, that's me. But yeah, no Giannis. He only had Dame for 2 games. Like, and then the game that he came back, Dame, you should have just set out. Like
Yeah, it's a little case of
I
the too
don't
much.
I don't I don't know what that was about, dude. Y'all won without Dame. Like, go ahead and get healthy. Because I think personally, if you're not 100, if you're not, I don't think Dame was even 75%, and I think that hurt his team. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
I don't think you should have played. Like dude, y'all just won off hard work and the role players, bro. Ride that wave. Maybe it was a little bit of like they can't game plan for you guys because there is no Dame and there is no Giannis, right? Ride that wave for one more game and maybe you buy yourself some more time. But I mean, it kind of sucks to see Dame come back and then they still lose because I felt like it was a little bit because of him, if that makes sense, right? Like I don't know.
yeah.
No, I was inevitable. Dame wasn't even nowhere near 100%, and Giannis was hurt. There was no way they were winning that series. It just is what it is.
Yeah, bad matchup for them this year.
So moving on to the other series in the West, or at least one of the last series we haven't covered yet. My Mavericks knocked off the Clippers in 6 games. I'm sure you guys were very happy about that.
Woo, 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 woo. Oh,
Smoking
so
a pack.
smoking in Clippers pack.
Yet another series marred in injuries, and not to say that I'm complaining. Kawhi was a shell of himself. I'm actually kind of wondering how much longer he has left. To be honest with you, he's his knees are on the downhill slide. That to me is kind of clear at this point. But we'll save what I think the Clippers are going to be doing for later on. But the Clippers, to me, this might have been their last gasp at this current roster they have. But we'll see what happens. They really like those guys. The front office does, so they might keep them together. But I was
Kawhi
very happy, very
McDonald's
ecstatic with
ice
this.
cream machine.
Go ahead. What was that, T?
Kawhi has knees like the McDonald's ice cream machine.
Dude, you just want to talk about you think that they lost the game because Dame came back. When the game that Kawhi came back, he hit a couple of tough shots, and there was even a couple of points where I'm like, wow, he looks like he has some of his spring. But on defense, especially, is where I noticed that he wasn't the same guy. He was not able to contest or get back on defense, or in the switching is where I could really tell that something wasn't right. Uh, Not, I don't really wish injury. I would have rather beat them at 100%. They've had our number the last couple of years, but a good, strong series win for the Mavericks there.
Yeah, a good mental one too, because like you said, they've had y'all's number for a couple of years. So you're like, we really, really want to like get these guys up out of here. But
I
I
think you just
mean,
got to call the brilliance of Kyrie too, because Luca didn't have a great series. He wasn't bad, but he didn't have a great series. So you really saw the brilliance of Kyrie in this series.
yeah, Luca's banged up a little bit, so I'm sure he's looking forward to getting a little bit healthier before the next series. Um, but I mean, to me, man, the Clippers, in a nutshell, they have so much going on, right? You have to extend Ty Lue. There was at the deadline we thought about trading Paul George, but it had to be for someone who was better than Paul George, which is crazy because good luck with that. Like I don't even know how they thought that was going to work. So now you're going into the summer where you have to extend Paul George with that on the record. And the 76ers and have already been on record. Well, I shouldn't say they've been on record, but they've already put the little rumors out like, hey, if the Clippers don't want you, guy, we want you. So I think there's a lot. They're going into a new stadium as well. Like I think there's a lot on the Clippers plate. But apparently, if we're going off of the media reports that have leaked out, they're looking to extend Tyler. They're looking to extend Paul George, and they're gonna run it back. Is that what they should do? Me personally, I don't think they should. That team, they've been together for a while, and I think they've super underachieved. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, 100%.
it's time to blow it up. But I mean, to talk about the Mavs, you guys did what should have been done. Give yourself a round of applause. Kyrie, still special as ever. Luca, get healthy, baby. Get healthy. Because look, if Denver gets out of this series, Luca, look at me, Luca. We're gonna need you to kill your father.
Oh my God.
End him. So get healthy, Luca.
So as far as the Timberwolves and the Suns go, you want to talk about another team that might be on their way out. The Suns getting swept. This is probably honestly the biggest shocker for me out of all the series.
For real.
I didn't see the Suns getting completely swept like that. I'm not a fan of the Suns. They're probably my least favorite Western Conference team just because of the jawing between Booker and Luca. But wow, they retooled. They got Bradley Beal. They have Yusuf Nurkic. I really thought they could do something there. But that was apparently not a good matchup for them, and they get swept out of the playoffs. See you later. Suns are probably going to have to blow it up. I don't see any way they can't blow it up. Timberwolves look very strong, making everyone eat crow whenever they traded for Rudy Gobert. Because I think I didn't see one pundit say that they thought that was a good trade, but look how they're making it work now. What do you guys think of the new look Timberwolves? And what do you think of the Suns and getting swept out of the playoffs?
I think you have to give the Timberwolves their credit. Whenever they traded for Rudy Gobert, a lot of people thought that that trade was redundant and that it would not work out. And to be fair, it did not in the first year. But I do think when you give things time, when you give people time to gel and to learn each other and to grow, that you can see what they are becoming now. Because a lot of people also forget the Timberwolves had a chance to continue with D'Angelo Russell or move on to Mike Conley. And I think that was a good choice for them as well. Mike Conley has been a great savvy vet for them. He's been a spark plug at times and just the equalizer they need. He's also a great deferrer. Anthony Edwards is coming to his own. He's one of the young stars we talked about earlier that is taking that torch and transitioning to the next stars in the league. So I think the Timberwolves, their future is really bright. And the Suns it's pretty disappointing. Although it is their first year together as well.
Yeah, I agree. Um, what else? Is it more shocking that the Suns lost or that Anthony Edwards annihilated Kevin Durant, so to speak, right? Like that's what kind of like when looking back, you're like, that is not supposed to happen to Kevin Durant. You are him. You're that guy, man. This is a little pup in the league. You should be spanking him. And in other words, You and DB got packed up in 4. That's crazy. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant got packed up in 4 games by Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. I know Karl Anthony Towns was there, but that wasn't like a super great series for him. So I'm gonna say Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert packed up Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Is this an alternate timeline that we're living in? Like, what is going on right now? Rudy Gobert team packed up Kevin Durant.
Bradley Beal did not have a great series either for the Suns.
Yeah, but I also think Bradley Beal's a point guard. Like, bro, he's playing out of position, and people are wondering why he's playing terribly. Like, come
Yeah,
on now.
he was pretty much a sole focal point of the Wizards. I think he needed a lot more touches than what they were giving him. Booker to me should have been the shooting guard of that team.
Oh, you mean the point guard or the shooting guard?
I think Booker should have been more of the shooting guard and Beal been the point guard. Because I
No,
mean,
I thought Beal
Booker
was the point guard.
was he the point player? He seemed like he always played shooting guard to me when I'd watch him. He always seemed to be off ball more.
Okay, okay.
But I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Suns games besides the series that they got completely destroyed in.
Yeah, and
And
that's what I was seeing. The series that I thought he was the point guard, and I was like, this is going terribly. Like, give the ball to Booker and let Booker be the point guard, in my opinion. I would personally mean this is just my opinion. I would let I would tell Bradley Beal, I need you to score 40 every night. You and Kevin Durant,
yes,
40. Because Devin Booker with the ball in his hands is gonna get his. He's Devin Booker is a pure scorer. It does not matter if Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are on the court. Devin Booker is going to get his points. Same thing with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is going to get it. Bradley, you need to be aggressive and you need to try to find a way to impact the game every night.
I think they didn't have any trouble with scoring. I felt like they scored plenty. The problem is who's going to play defense on the Suns team. I mean, I know that Durant was supposedly going to be up for a defensive team. He played really well this year, but Booker, yes, the guy can score, but he's not really getting any stops either. And I think they gave up kind of like what the Lakers did when they got Westbrook, when they got rid of all that depth they had. The Suns gave up a lot of depth to go and get Bradley Beal. They gave up a lot of their role players that I think they are now missing. What are they going to do when all you have is your starters and they're gassed and going against these two big men that are just it was a crazy series to watch, and they can't really blame injuries too much. I know they missed Grayson Allen shooting, and honestly, he was a bulldog defender at times too. But I mean, he was there for 2 games and they got out in 4. So Suns are gonna have to look at what they're gonna do next. Maybe they can't blow it up because of just all the sheer amount of money wrapped up in those contracts. But it's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna do and how they're gonna have to reshuffle and retool because obviously something has to happen. I mean, they can't run it back. They just got swept. So
Well, they kind of have to run it back because they can't trade Bradley Beal. He has a no trade clause. You're not going to trade Kevin Durant, and you're not going to trade Devin Booker unless one of them requests a trade. Kevin Durant just got there, and Devin Booker is on record saying he wants to retire there. So I think they're going to run back that weird team they just had, and I don't know what they're doing. I would have never traded for Bradley Beal. You had Kevin Durant, you had Devin Booker, and you had like flexibility and some depth. You traded that for Nurkic and a bunch of like ancillary pieces. What, bro? Fumble, fumble.
it looked like it was gonna work for a second though, or at least to me it did. For a moment, for a fleeting moment, it looked like it might work.
They had, I think, what the only point guard they had on their roster was Campaign, right? Like at one point, like they have no point guards on their team. That's not. I don't care what basketball type of basketball team you're building. Obviously, you have 3 superstars on there, but bro, you need a point guard. Let's just say there's a point where there's no DB, no Bradley Beal, and no Kevin Durant on the court. Who is running the offense if y'all have no point guard? You cannot expect your role players to play point guard. Like that's not their talent doesn't equate to picking up that burden on your team. Come on now. Like at least get a good backup point guard if you're not going to run a point guard in the starting lineup.
You know what I think would be interesting? I don't know how feasible it is, but I'd be interested to see Chris Paul back with the Suns.
Off the bench, right? I think that would be good, and he'll take a
That'd be
minute.
good. I don't know how you would make that work, but I just think that would be.
He was a great fit for them. Until he kept getting hurt in the playoffs, that is. But I think that was probably his his best fit in his career, Chris Paul with the Suns. That looked like a good fit for them.
And I think he would take the minimum to come back. But like, do they open him back? Did they welcome him back with open arms? Hopefully, Honestly, bro, Chris Paul off the bench, like he's gonna stay. Well, I was gonna say he should be a lot healthier, but he was not healthy for the
Yeah,
Warriors.
you can't depend on that. He's never been
Broke
healthy.
his hand, bro. That's crazy. Off the bench.
CP3's healthy.
He's broken his hand multiple times. I remember him breaking his hand with the
Yeah,
Suns, didn't he?
yeah, he did.
How do you do that? What is it? What happens? Someone stomps on it?
I mean, he's older, bro. Like, don't they say like when you get older, your bones are a little bit more brittle? I
But he's
mean,
not 50 or 60. He's still in his 30s, isn't he? He's not that
Probably
old.
fell on the stairs. You know what I'm saying? Tripping over Lego.
in his 30s.
He's
Nah,
not
man.
40 yet, is he?
How old is Chris Paul? He's like 36, right? 38?
Chris Paul is 30 something. He's not 40 yet
Yeah,
though,
he's
because
not
the oldest
40.
player in the league is LeBron.
He's not 40 yet until December.
Yeah, he's not 40 yet.
He's 38. And he's not as durable as LeBron. It's no surprise to me he broke his hand.
I mean, in basketball terms, he's a smaller man too, so I think that's what lends to his durability not being as consistent now that he's older.
True.
We talked about we have not talked about the Celtics and Heat yet, have we?
No, we have not. Let's get it.
All right, so Celtics Heat, you guys were right. I must admit they didn't sweep them, but it was nonetheless not a close series. The last game especially, where the Celtics and in Boston kind of just rolled all over them. Yet another series marred in injury. Jimmy Butler, of course, didn't play on that one. What do you guys think of the Celtics without KP now? They also don't have Porzingis. Do you guys think that the Celtics can move on after beating them in 5 and make any damage without KP?
Uh, the Cavs will not have Jared Allen, so I think I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the Cavs get packed up in 4. Like I don't. After watching them kind of
Four.
struggle, yeah. Watching them they almost lost to the Magic. First of all, they won. Let's be honest, they beat the Magic, but it was a very close series. It went 7 games, and up until the fourth quarter, the Magic had control of that game. I don't know what they let go of the rope later in the third, and that's what was their downfall in that game. So I don't just based off of what I've seen of their play, I think the Celtics wrap this one up quickly. To be honest, the Celtics, even without Kristaps Porzingis, they're just playing on an insane level. So the only teams that I think that are going to challenge them are teams that are. I don't think the Celtics will see a challenge until maybe the conference finals for them or the. So if they face the Knicks, I think the Knicks have a shot. But I don't know. I don't see the Cavs putting up too big of a fight. Even though I heard Cavs fans were chanting they want Boston. Be careful what you ask for. You are about to get it.
No, I think that the Cavs and the Magic series went to 7 for a reason because the Cavs are talented. They're wildly inconsistent, and Darius Garland didn't have a great series, but I do think that they could compete with the Celtics, especially with Kristaps Porzingis hurt. They could definitely compete. It's gonna come down to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown versus Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell at the end of the day, and who's gonna be able to execute. And I do think, yeah, you gotta give the Celtics more of an edge because they have more of a veteran presence. People forget that the Celtics have been here before. They've been together for longer. So, and they have more veteran leadership presence. Like they have a champion with them.
They have Derek White, the bald Kobe Bryant. You get it right, sir.
There will never be a Kobe Bryant in a Celtics jersey. You take that shit back.
His name is Derek White, and he's bald, and he's bowling. How about that?
I'm a huge fan of Drew Holiday. I love what he does, and I think he may also be the difference in this series.
Derek White is going to definitely be the difference. They're going to put him on Darius Garland, and he's going to annihilate that man.
I'm going to come to the defense of the Cavaliers in a 7-game series against the Magic. It was an opening series against a tough team that really wanted it. I mean, the Magic proved that they're here to stay. But as you mentioned, Darius Garland had a rough series. No Jared Allen. and they still won the series. I don't see Darius Garland having another rough series,
I
especially.
don't either.
I don't see it happening again. He's too good. He's a consistent player.
You don't think Derek
I
White
don't
is
see him
gonna?
doing.
You don't think Derek
No,
White is gonna?
no. When has Derek White ever done this? Like,
What?
come on, man. I
He
don't
can
see
lock
him
people
doing
up. I
that.
don't see him locking up Garland, but he can lock up people.
All
Put
right,
your
we got
glasses back on.
We got one more series. I know you guys probably have been waiting to talk about this one. One more series to talk about. Nuggets, unfortunately, in 5, knocked out your guys' Lakers, both of your Lakers. You're still repping the Lakers, though, I see, so y'all still have some pride there. All right, we'll take it away. What do you guys think of that one?
This is why I have my shades on. I'm in mourning. I when one gets bounced out of the playoffs the way we did, you go on a soul searching journey of what is this, as in life, right? Like, uh, we lost 11 games in a row to these guys. We win one, um, and then ultimately we get bounced in a gentleman's sweep, and it hurts. Yeah, I'll tell you, it hurts. Behind these shades, the reason I have these shades on is because I've cried myself to sleep every night since we've lost. So my eyes are just bloodshot red. I haven't slept since. I won't sleep all summer. I'll be in the lab getting better at my
Today,
craft.
Junior.
Look, long story short, it hurts, man. I
Yeah,
don't
all right, this guy. All right. I totally think differently. I do think the Lakers were ill-equipped because of one, their point guard play as well as their coaching. Mike Malone is just a better coach than Darvin Ham. That's why Darvin Ham got fired.
That's a fact.
D'Angelo Russell also, if you get any better play out of him, it equalizes this series a lot more. Anthony Davis, LeBron James played their ass off. They kept them in that. Every game was close. It was a great series, in my opinion, even though it was a gentleman's sweep. But the
Yep.
Lakers know what they need to do going forward. You need better depth, you need better point guard play, and you definitely need a better coach. Hats off to the Nuggets. They're the reigning champions for a reason. Michael Porter Jr. played out of his mind. He was a great 3-point shooter. Aaron Gordon, one of the best role players in the league, top pick in the draft, really found a home there with the Nuggets. And then Jamal Murray is Jamal Murray. I do think that guy, again, is up there with the young, talented group of like Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, and the young duos of this league that are just taking over now. And the torch has been, the Nuggets are a good team. Jamal Murray hits 2 game-winning shots in this series, and it's kaput.
Was it 4 or is it 3 20-point leads blown in the series by the Lakers? I can't remember how many it was.
3.
3.
3.
2 in the first 2 games.
That's a coaching issue for sure. I think if anytime you have a 20-point lead, you should at least attempt to salt that away. And because I mean this series would be completely different if the Lakers would be moving on if they keep those leads. They took one. So Darvin Ham, I think he seems like a nice guy. Maybe he has a coaching later in his career, but he's not going to be the Lakers coach. If you guys could pick any name, even if they were already hitched to another team, which coach would y'all like to see be the next coach of the LA Lakers?
Tyronn Lue. If we could, or Jason Kidd, if we could pick. But who's gonna be the next coach? I couldn't even tell you, dude.
It's probably going to be some random assistant.
I've been hearing that a lot of people like David Alderman, the assistant coach for the Nuggets. For better or worse, JJ Redick. I don't know what that's about. I like JJ. JJ is smart. Like he from what you can see from him, he knows the game. And I think a lot of people are kind of comparing him to like how Steve Kerr came in with the Warriors. But dude, I would be very cautious to try to run that tail. Like, bro, we've squandered LeBron's legacy with some coaches over here in LA. Please get the right guy in here and move on. Like, please stop picking the wrong guy.
Yeah, a lot of people are bringing up names like Mike Budenholzer, who I'm not a fan of.
Nope.
I before when Frank Vogel was let go, I personally wanted Quinn Snyder. I believe he's with the Atlanta Hawks now, so that's still a no. Um, I don't really have a say in the coach, in my opinion. I don't like any of the candidates. I'm interested to see where they go with it. But like he said, right now the candidates are Mike Budenholzer, JJ Redick, Ty Lue and Jason Kidd's names were mentioned, but again, the Mavericks and the Clippers respectively have already put out statements saying they're looking to extend their coaches. So I don't see this being a very great coaching carousel search for the Lakers. I do think it's gonna take some time, which they don't have because the draft is coming up. And I do think it's going to be hard for them to find one of those established coaches, which is the type of coach they need. They need an established coach, somebody who can come and bring up some good X's and O's, because that was the biggest part of the problem with Darvin Ham. His in-game adjustments were not there. His rotations when
Terrible.
needing to adjust in-game were not there, as well as not being very proficient with his timeouts and his challenges,
Terrible.
which
And
would lend to a veteran coach. But again, I'm not high on Mike Budenholzer myself.
What is
yeah,
it about Mike Budenholzer that turns you guys off? What else I don't like that pick?
he's off of Darvin Ham is off of his coaching tree, and I don't want anything to do with Darvin Ham. Nothing. And don't
Agreed.
get me wrong, I think that Mike Budenholzer is a decent coach. But if we look back to his time in Milwaukee, he was about to get fired before they won that championship. That championship literally bought him another couple years. So I'll pass. Like respectfully, I like you, Mike, but I need the right guy, and I don't know if Mike Budenholzer is going to be the right guy. So
Yeah, I don't see enough evidence to suggest that he was one of the pillars that got the Bucks to that championship. When we look back at that championship, it just looks like Giannis and Drew Holiday really seized the moment and really stepped their play up in that championship run. I just don't see him as a coach that makes a difference. And I feel like that's what the Lakers need right now. They need someone smart, someone who's not going to panic, who's not going to be a distraction. There's a lot of great coaches in this league, like Eric Spoelstra, Mike Malone. Would they need someone of that ilk who is going to be professional, but also just has a sense of experience about the game and knows where to go in trying moments. I think that was really telling with Darvin Ham and him just not having the experience of a head coach and being able to weather those storms, losing those 20-point leads, and then those stretches in the season where the Lakers just didn't play well. It seemed like he didn't know what to do with the lineups or where to go with X's and O's.
Fair enough. So it sounds like I know Q sounds like he wants LeBron back. What do y'all? So y'all are both on the same page, probably. T. What do you think about LeBron? And do you want to see him stay in LA, or do you want to see him go somewhere else?
I think LeBron should come back for sure. This was his statistically one of his best seasons of his career. It was the best season of his career from the 3-point range. He shot over 40%. If you are a Lakers fan or just a LeBron fan in general, you watched him this season, he played amazingly. He was great from the three. He was great. He had his pop back. He was dunking on people. He was talking his ish. I don't think LeBron James was the problem at all. Can he be lackadaisical on defense? Yes, he's 39 years old. But when he wants to lock in, that man locks in. And the duo of him and Anthony Davis really shined in the playoffs, which I'm very grateful and very thankful for, because Anthony Davis does not get his shine enough. And I think, although it'd be unfortunate he got hurt at the end of the series, that duo is still one of the best duos in the league, no matter what people say, old or not.
yeah, I agree. I think LeBron was great this year. I think he gets a lot of flack for his defense, but he's 39. Like, come on now. You know what I mean? How much defense can he really play at this point? I think it's on the Lakers to put a better defensive team around him to, you know, mask that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, let's hopefully we can get Jared Vanderbilt back. That'll help with our defense a lot. Hopefully Gabe's Vincent is healthy. Hopefully we can get a coach that can manage 20-point leads, and then we don't have to talk about LeBron's defense in the offseason and not being in the playoffs. But I digress. Yeah, I think LeBron comes back. I think we get a good coach, and then I think we win a championship next year. If you're asking me right now, that's what I think. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's wild to me to see so many people celebrating LeBron losing and bringing up the defense when there's so many other players that don't play defense and seemingly don't get called out for it, and they're much
Nikola,
younger than. Yeah, they're much younger than him. Like Trey Young. I've seen the graphics before where it shows that this guy gives up almost as many buckets as he scores, and
Trey
yet
who?
Trey Young.
Future Laker.
If you want him, he's going to be a huge black hole on defense.
Yeah, I hope not.
He's gonna
He's an
drop
advocate for this, but I don't want Trey Young. No
Trey
50
offense,
Young
every
Trey Young.
is
night.
one of the worst defensive players in the NBA. Like it's crazy that
Exactly.
he's hyped up so much that he is.
Actually, I think Nikola Jokic was the worst, but Trey is probably top five. I think so. So
I mean, he at least gets boards, so it's like even if he's bad on defense, he gets boards. So I mean, I'll
you know
take that.
what? That's that's fair. You're right. That's
He
fair.
gets he gets boards. I'll take that. So I mean, he
That's it.
gives you so much on offense.
Yeah, and assists. He gets a lot of assists.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much all the first round matchups. Let's just start right where we were. So then the Nuggets beat the Lakers. They're now already in a series as we speak with the Timberwolves, which the Timberwolves game one took that series or took the game one series in Denver. What do you guys think of that series? Do you think it was just a fluke? That Anthony Edwards came out with all that firepower only to simmer out, or do you think the Timberwolves take the series against the Nuggets?
You
I
see
think
my
the
face?
chicken nuggies are cooked.
You see my face? That's the face Ant Man had the whole game. Nah, I think Ant Man's. I think this is a coming out party, and I hope he shows out this. Like I ain't gonna lie, Anthony Edwards is him right now. Finish the Nuggies off.
I think it's just coming down to sizes and matchup. I think the Timberwolves match up very well. They have
Yeah,
two 7-footers. They also have a guy who can do everything. I'm not saying that Carlton Towns is Jokic, but he can do pretty much everything that Jokic does. And then you have the defensive anchor in Rudy Gobert, which I do think was a big problem with the Lakers. They had Rudy Gobert and Anthony Davis, the defensive anchor, but they didn't have another playmaker, another shooter, another big body that could put up points like Karl Anthony Towns, like with the Timberwolves. And then you have Anthony Edwards, who's coming into his own, who again is in that top echelon of young players right now. He's playing at a high level, and I think you're seeing with him right now, he's seizing that moment. I think Anthony Edwards looks around right now and he sees that he's the best player on the court, and he's really taking advantage of the moment right now. I'm not counting the Nuggets out. I think it's a great series, but the Timberwolves stealing game one and home court advantage is a good key in this series. So I do look for the Timberwolves to win it just based off that fact right now. But if the Nuggets can regain home court advantage, I don't see them like not winning this either. It's going to be a great series. But the
Minnesota in
Timberwolves
five.
have thrown the first haymaker.
Minnesota in five.
I'm not saying that.
Minnesota in five.
What are you saying, T? Who are you taking?
I would say Minnesota in 6 because I do
Five.
think it's going to be. I think that the Nuggets win the next game, and then I think it goes back to the Timberwolves to their home court, and then I think the Timberwolves again regain home court advantage, and that's the key in this series, in my opinion. For if we see if someone gets hurt, but other than that, I do think home court advantage being stolen is a big key.
Oh, go ahead, Drew.
Sorry, the Anthony Edwards. I think what I'm seeing from them and the Timberwolves is what thought Draw Morant and the Grizzlies should have been. Anthony
Yeah.
Edwards has taken over the NBA already. He doesn't want to wait, and he's already going to look to be the face of. I mean, look at all the guys that are out. LeBron's out, Curry's out, Giannis out. This next generation of stars are stepping up. The only thing I'm concerned about is Anthony Edwards is playing at this crazy level for at least the past month, going back to when Cat was out. So what I'm concerned about is if he's going to pitter out and just lose all this momentum. The Nuggets are a championship team. They can wear you down. It's going to be a long series. There is, to me, no way this series doesn't go 7 games. I'm going to say Denver in 7 personally. What do you think? What were you going to say, Q?
So I was gonna say I'm sticking to my thing. Minnesota in five. It's probably gonna be six though, but I think Minnesota takes the series. To be honest with you, like I said earlier, Ant Man coming out party. I think this is. I think he looks at the Nuggets as you guys are the champions. Y'all got the MVP. I want to dethrone that. I want to show everybody why I'm him. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the only thing that I'm worried about with Minnesota is can they sustain like because they had pockets in that first game of just high level activity, high level defensive like capability. Because I thought it's Jaden McDaniels. I thought he
Yeah.
was 6'8". They say he's 6'10". So I was like, bro, they got Cat, Ant, Jaden, Rudy. The smallest guy out there is Mike Conley. And that's just a big team, man. Like if they can I think they got to shorten the rotation just a little bit. But if they can just like if y'all can execute, y'all can pack these guys up. And as a Lakers fan, I hope you do. I hope you do. You know what I mean?
I got it notated, so you guys definitely think Minnesota's taking this. We're gonna write it down. We got the receipts for that one. Next
I don't
series.
know if
Go
I
ahead.
definitely think that. I don't want to disrespect the champs, but hoping
It's too late. You
that
said Mini in 5.
I want Minnie to win. Get back for us, man.
No, I get it. I understand that for sure. Every time a team knocks out my Mavericks, I'm picking against them to lose. But hey, we lost to the Warriors the last time we went to the playoffs, and they won the whole damn thing. So hey, I'm sure y'all don't want to see that again from the Nuggets, right?
We do not because they did that last year and it hurts so bad.
Speaking of my Mavericks, they have the Baby Thunder 2.0. I was nervous about the Clippers. We beat them in 6 games. I'm even more nervous now. We got the number 1 seed Thunder, a bunch of young guys that love to just run up and down the court. Very scary team. Probably the scariest, in my opinion, the scariest team left just because I'm not going to say they're unpredictable, but in a way they kind of are. We don't really know who's going to cook on each individual night. It could be a different guy. They have
Yeah.
guys all over the place that can get their own baskets and just go off. What do you guys think of Baby Thunder and the Mavericks?
I think another series that could go to 7. I like the length. I like the size of the Thunder. I love the play that they're playing with right now. But Kyrie Irving's playing at an MVP level. He's really, again, showed his brilliance in the first round of the NBA playoffs. So I don't think Luka is going to have such a tough time and with the Thunder. So I think he's going to come to play, and I think that's going to be the difference. This series, I really think the big men of this series are going to be the difference. Can the Mavericks big men hold Chet Holmgren? And if they can do that, I could see the Mavericks moving on. But right now, if I had to pick, I would say Thunder in 7.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Although I'm rooting for the Mavs. I'm not gonna lie. The more I watch
Hey,
the
hey,
Mavs,
pick a side, bro.
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Pick a side.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I like Kyrie. He's future Laker.
We don't care who you
I
like.
like Luka. I
Pick
like
a
Luka
side.
Doncic. Future Laker. There's a bunch of future Lakers on Dallas that I think need. Look, if they win this year, that's prime real estate. So when they come to LA, they're ready to win now. You know what I mean? Like Luka, go ahead and get one in Dallas. Get them going. You're done with them. Come on out to LA. Get your career started. We can really get it going. You know what I mean? We can get you 4 or 5 of those things. Like, what do you need? Like, I love Dallas.
There's
So,
no way he's leaving Dallas. I'm gonna just let you know that now.
look,
Stop embarrassing us, man.
somebody has
Y'all
to.
might can get Kyrie, but y'all not. There's no way Luca leaves.
I think we trade LeBron James for Luca and Kyrie this summer.
Oh,
And
you get both of them, huh?
yeah, I mean, in some weird timeline, this is what happens, and we win 6
If
championships.
LeBron was 26, maybe, but there's no way they're giving you both players for 40-year-old LeBron, dude.
Nah, I'm just playing. But I mean, no, in all seriously though, I want Kyrie to be successful. I'm happy that all the people who gave him flack the last couple of years can finally only focus on his game because I think that's what really mattered. That's why he's in the spotlight for his game. You know what I mean? So it's good to see Kyrie playing well. I hope Luca gets healthy. Remember what I said, Luca. You may have to knock your father off. You need to get healthy, my brother. Come on now. Pack these guys up in 6. In 6. Let's get this done.
I'm gonna go ahead and say the same thing, honestly. I'm gonna say Mavericks in 6 myself.
Yeah.
Not because I'm like just super, super confident about it, but because I think that Jason Kidd, I've been giving him a lot of flack, but in the playoffs, I feel like he's done a much better job of managing the rotation. There's one small problem I can foresee being a thing though. Maxi Kleber just got hurt, probably out for the season. So that's going to be some minutes that they have to shore up and figure out who's going to get that. And it's going to be between Josh Green or even Markieff Morris, who's barely played for us. And I honestly forget he's in plays for the Mavericks. But It's going to be a crazy series. I think the big thing the Mavericks have is that they've been together a little bit longer and they've been doing this for a while in terms of just the key guys. I mean, I know Kyrie hasn't been there for a long time, but a lot of the other Maverick players have been playing for a while, and the Thunder are still such a young team. I mean, Chet Holmgren is already to me one of the best big men in the game, but he's still a rookie. And
For
Josh
sure.
Giddey hasn't been around very long. Jalen Williams is still a second year player. SGA is the most experienced guy they have, and he's only 24, 25 years old. So I think the Thunder, they have probably the brightest future out of the teams that are still left in the playoffs. But I'm hoping that Dallas, maybe it's more hopium than anything else, but I'm hoping Dallas can get them out of there in 6 and preserve some of their energy for the conference finals. But, we'll see what happens on that end. Now, we're going back on over to the East. We kind of talked about the Celtics and the Cavaliers a little bit. You guys mentioned that you believe the Celtics are going to win. So you think let's just go over it again, Q. Let's see. It sounded like you said you thought the Celtics were going to sweep them. What do you think of that series?
I do think the Celtics are going to sweep them. And I'm not. I mean that with no disrespect. I swear, I mean no disrespect. But I mean the Cavs. I'm just not impressed with their play from the first round. And I think the Celtics are thinking the same thing. Like we're going to come in, we're going to dominate, we're going to play well, and it's going to be over with. But I mean, I do understand that Donovan Mitchell is Donovan. So I think they can steal a game or two if the Cavs come in ready to go. Like they need to lock in my opinion, because I think that the series with them and the Magic wouldn't have went to 7 if the Cavs were a little more healthy and a little bit more locked in. So yeah.
Yeah, like we said earlier, I do think the Celtics win the series 6 to, I mean not 6, I mean 4-2. In my opinion, I think Donovan Mitchell goes off in a couple games and they win 1 or 2, but I see the Celtics taking this 4-2.
I'm gonna go the other way. Be a little controversial here. I like the Cavs. I like the grit they play with. I like the fire they play with. I like Donovan Mitchell. I'm gonna be honest. I like Donovan Mitchell a lot. He's one of my favorite players.
Mm.
Probably was my favorite player when he was with the Jazz. I think he has the it factor. I think the Cavs have the it factor. And also they're gonna have Jared Allen. He's not gonna be gone with bruised ribs for the whole series. I doubt that. So, and I think he's the matchup problem. They're not gonna have KP. That's a huge hole, whether the C's or maybe C's fans want to admit that or not. That's a huge loss. Al Horford is up there in age. I don't see him banging up with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley for 7 games, which is what I'm going to put this up for. I think Cavs win this in 7 games. I think
Ooh.
this will be another surprise series. The Celtics have a little bit of, I'm not going to call them chokers because I mean that seems a little bit harsh, but they honestly, kind of like the Sixers, have been good for a long time, and they still haven't won a ring yet. I don't really believe in them. I'm gonna be honest, I don't. I think that they're primed to fall apart, but at the same time, they were the best team in the league this year, so it could go either way. I'm gonna go ahead and still lock it in though. Cavs in 7, in my opinion.
You make a good
Okay.
point, to
Well,
be honest with you. Really
well,
do.
that.
Because
Last
Jared
se- Go
got to
ahead.
be
Sorry.
the whole time. Oh my bad. Jared
No,
Allen isn't going to be injured the whole time. But I feel like this is, again, I say this a lot, but this is my opinion. I feel like he has trouble with the bright lights sometimes. Like I feel like sometimes he gets a little lost in playing up to his potential. Because I think sometimes I think at one point we thought Jared Allen would be a 2020 guy. Not every night, but you felt like he could give you that like from time to time. And I think he does do that from time to time to time, if that makes sense, right? Like he does live up to that sometimes, but I think he falls short, just as much, if that makes sense. But
it's a lot of mouths to feed, but I can see that for sure. I mean, they're a loaded team. They're a little more
yeah,
loaded than people realize. They have a pretty
yeah,
strong squad.
there's a lot of people who get the ball before him. I think that's what I just think that's why he's not, like sometimes it just feels like he's an afterthought in their offense sometimes. So,
He kind of is. He is kind of a putback player. He's they don't really set up a lot for him, but he doesn't really need to be set up for, and that's the beauty of having a guy like him. I feel like so. I think he's one of the true, really, really, really underrated players in this league, and I honestly do feel like that's why they struggled so much against the Magic, was just not having him there. But and also, Darius Garland struggled as bad as he did. But that to me is why, because to me, a 7 game grind out series in the first round is only going to make your team stronger. When I saw them embrace Darius Garland, I know it's small, like oh they hugged him because he finally hit a 3 at the end of the game. to me, that showed the moxie and the grit of this team, that they were willing to uplift their teammate. And that's
Yeah.
why I don't see them losing like this. I don't see them bowing out in the next round. I saw something in them that, to me, that made me believe in them. But hey, this is the NBA, and we get surprised all the time. No one saw the Suns getting swept. I'm still shocked. So, but anyways, the last series to talk about today, the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, two teams that I think some people may have been surprised to see them both get this far, especially in the Knicks case without Randall and the Pacers case going against the Bucks. What do you guys see this series going to? And at these two teams, which one are you more surprised to see them make it this far?
Pacers.
I mean, yeah, I guess the Pacers. I mean, they are the sixth seed in the East, so it's not that too far fetched. But just because it's their first year, really showing that they have this potential as well, so you weren't really sure what they could do. But the Pacers, I think this is a great matchup. They're both young. They both get up and down the court. I'm not really sure who would win this series, honestly, because I don't think either team is great or consistent. So I'm just gonna look forward to the winner of this one. I really don't. I couldn't tell you who would win that, honestly.
We got to pick somebody. Who do you think's going to win?
I think the Knicks are going to win in 6. I think the
Knicks
Pacers make it a little bit close in a couple games. Like I think the Pacers will get
6.
1 or 2, but I think the Knicks, like I think they're just a better team. And that's no disrespect to the Pacers, but I think this Pacer team is like a year or two off from being where the Knicks are right now, in my opinion.
I
So
agree.
I think the
I agree.
Knicks, but I mean, it's not to say the Pacers can't win a couple games. Like they're here for a reason. They beat the Bucks, man. They
The
beat
Bucks
the
weren't healthy, so I'm not really gonna take too much credence into that. But I will say the Knicks do have OG and Anunoby, and I do love the way Jalen Brunson plays. He's one of the better players in the league. I know a lot of people give him flack for being smaller, but he really, really is, at least playoffs, one of the top 10 players in the playoffs. So I think the Knicks will edge this one out, probably 4-2.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
agreed.
all in solidarity there. I also picked the Knicks in 6. I'm a huge Brunson fan. Another one of my favorite players. I've been watching him since he was in college. I If it wasn't for Luca, I really feel like he should be getting a lot more MVP consideration, especially for what he's done over the last month of the season. He probably won't, but at the end of the day, it's about what you put on tape over the course of years, and I think Brunson's well on his way to doing that. Without
Yeah,
Randall, with a relatively new core, I mean, they have a lot of the same guys they had last year, but mixing in OG, and also he got hurt towards the end of the year. The Knicks to me are a nice surprise to see them. I think basketball is better when the Knicks are playing well. The Knicks needed this. New York needs this, and I think they need this win over the Pacers. The Pacers are a great team, but I think the Knicks are coached too well, and they have too much talent, and they're just playing on all firing on all cylinders right now to not take out the Pacers.
Agreed. But the Pacers are a year or two away. I will say that too.
And getting Pascal Siakam, in the trade deadline or whenever it was a huge boon for them. I think he was a better fit than I thought he was going to be. So, uh, it's funny, all the teams that have poached the Raptors, and the Raptors couldn't do anything with all those guys, but other teams are making it work.
True. And I think a year more settled into that role, more continuity with those guys will also give him and that team a lot more success as well.
So I want to talk briefly here about just some of these first round teams that have lost and the fallout of what could happen. You guys mentioned earlier that Lakers are losing or lost their coach. They're looking for a new one. The Suns eliminated in the first round. The Pelicans with Zion. I mean, you got teams like the Heat who are probably still chilling, but I mean, there's a lot of teams that have to look in the future and look themselves in the mirror and say, what are we doing with our team? What do you guys think of the fallout of teams like the Lakers and the Suns, and even the Warriors? What comes next, and how much different you think these teams are going to look next year?
I think the Warriors have a lot of moves to make. I think when you look at Klay Thompson's contract and what he wants, if what he wants isn't aligned with what we can use to make this team better, then you move on from Klay Thompson, whether he's a Hall of Famer or not. So the Warriors definitely have some tough decisions to make this offseason. I think for the Lakers, if they don't over panic, they can just retool and they'll be fine. Finding a better coach will definitely be the hardest part of this summer for them. But let's optimistically say you find a good coach, you retool this depth, and you can get where you want to be as well. When it comes to the Pelicans, I think it's more tricky for them because what do you do with Brandon Ingram? They have prioritized that they want to move on with their next wing depth. So, do you move on from Brandon Ingram and move him to get better pieces? Are you still as keyed in or locked in on your point guard in CJ McCollum as you were looking at his performance in the playoffs?
Yep.
And Zion's shown that when healthy, he's one of the top players in the league as well with a young mental. Do you help continue to build around him, or do you continue to build around this young New Orleans core? And I think those are going to be the questions from New Orleans. Do they want to flip Brandon Ingram? Do they want to extend him? Or do they want to, flip CJ McCollum?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Looking at all these teams that got knocked out, Pelicans, like he was saying, what are you going to do with CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram? How are you going to get better around Zion? Clippers, do you resign Paul George? Do you resign James Harden? Do you extend Tyronn Lue? Suns, do you fire Frank Vogel? What pieces are you going to put around your big three? The Lakers, you already fired Darvin Ham. What pieces are you going to put around AD and LeBron? The Heat, got to resign Jimmy Butler. And is it time to move on from Tyler Hero? The Magic, we need a little bit of shooting. We need a lot of shooting if we're the Magic. The Bucks, you hired Doc Rivers, so you're not firing him. You got to bring him back. How long is the leash of Doc Rivers next year? And what are we doing with Dame and Giannis?
You muted yourself.
My bad. And then the 76ers to end. Y'all got to go star hunting for, and can Joel stay healthy? So, I mean, the teams that are eliminated, they all, let's be honest, you're lucky you got a head start on your offseason because you got a lot to think about. You know what I mean? So,
What do the kids like to say? Enjoy Cancun.
1, 2, 3, Cancun. Oh, can we talk about Patrick Beverly for a second and how much of a clown he is, bro? Like,
Oh my God, honestly forgot about that.
yeah, I had to bring that up. Like the it was already bad enough you hit a woman with a basketball because she screamed 1, 2, 3 Cancun. But then what you pulled with that media lady, do you subscribe to the pod? Like, bro, you could
It
not
was
be more of
so odd. And how did he know if she was subscribed or not? He looked her up in real time.
Exactly. You have every last subscriber on your phone. So if she would have said yes, you would have just like had no problem with it. Like, bro,
I
just
want to know
just
how is he still in the league? Dwight,
is
you seen that? You seen that GIF of Dwight Howard or the video of Dwight Howard being like, "Come on, come to Shanghai, come on." Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's no
need.
doubt going to get in some type of trouble for that. Probably going to be an impending suspension that's imposed on the next season, but not a great look for him. Not a great look for a team that's already having a lot of questions this off season. So we'll see what happens with him, and maybe they move him because he's been a person who gets moved a lot after his antics. So we'll see what happens with the Bucks. They definitely do have a lot of questions, and he definitely just added to the chatter and the noise that was already there.
the dude has a year in the league left tops. He's cooked.
I don't think he's gonna have that. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he's had a nice little career for himself. I'm not gonna lie, but he's been given a lot of chances. I mean, he's not Draymond Green here with all these rings to show for it. You know what I mean? Some guys you can
Yeah,
put up
next
with
season.
for a while, some guys you can't, and he's just not on that level to be putting up with him like that.
Man, Pat Beverly.
Next season is going to be tough. I'm willing to bet they probably move on from him. They've got enough on their plate with Doc's scrutiny, Dame scrutiny, Giannis, and is he going to leave? Can he stay healthy? Is
Let me
this like the core that gets us there again?
let me
So
ask
I
you this.
don't think they want to deal with that anymore.
Let me ask you this. You're the owner of any NBA team in the league right now. Anyone you could pick. Anyone. Charlotte, Miami, Orlando, the Lakers, the Celtics. Any team you want to be the GM of. Are you picking up Patrick Beverly? It's going to be a
No.
resounding F no. No.
I
He's
mean,
out of here.
fans don't even like him. It's like even if it was like we want to sell some jerseys or bring some attention, fans don't even like him. So what is he
I
bringing to
mean,
your team?
it's come to a point where is he contributing to basketball and contributing to winning?
No, he's not.
And the answer right now is no. So I just don't see him having too much of a future. You don't wish anything on guys because it's their livelihood, but I mean, if he wants to continue in this league, he's gonna have to stop with the antics and get back to fundamentals and just play basketball.
He doesn't do that well, so
I still can't get over it. What do you think is more outrageous? Those two things with the ball and yelling at the lady about the subscription thing, or when he jumped on the damn scorer's table to celebrate them winning in the playoff or playing tournament?
the scores table
Obviously now.
the scores table embodied his career. That was your highlight,
Yeah,
fucker.
I think that just embodied his
It
emotion.
was just too
Yeah.
outrageous. They acted like they won the damn finals, bro.
That man
Like,
threw
come
his
on.
jersey in the crowd, bro.
I still think that was more outrageous because it was just so ridiculous. It was like, okay, it's celebrate, but y'all didn't win the finals. There's still a lot more basketball to be played.
Yo.
The antics of Patrick Beverly, man.
It was just probably one of those things that he had to get off his bucket list. He was like, I'm an NBA player. I saw D Wade do it. I saw Kobe do it. I want to do it. We just won this game. I'm gonna get on this table.
Since we're already on the subject of guys just doing outrageous stuff, we didn't talk about it last time, so I want to bring it up here. Michael Porter Jr., to his credit, is balling out on his team. Who's not balling out are his three brothers. All three of them within a week got in trouble for different things. I really want to know how he's able to stay locked in. Talk about Mamba mentality. What do you guys think of the situation surrounding Michael Porter Jr.'s brothers and all three of them getting in trouble, centered around largely around drinking and driving?
uh, as someone, and I think T can attest to this, we have a very large family, and it is as someone who comes from a large family and knows that like at any given time, one of your siblings can do something wild. I I have sympathy for him. I hope you can stay locked in, bro. I hope stuff gets better for you because I've been in your situation and I know how it feels to just be like, I just want to win an NBA championship and there's a dumpster fire at home. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? So, uh, I wish you all the best, brother, because I know how it feels to just be like, what are we doing?
I mean, it's just a part of life. I think every athlete has had their ups and their downs and their triumphs with family as well as friends and just your entourage or whatever. I mean, like you said, he has a big extended family. He has a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters, so it's just gonna come with the territory. But he's a professional, and you get paid the big bucks to try to keep the outside noise outside of work. And the NBA is work right now, so I think he's shown that he's a good player and he's very locked in and professional. So I don't see it affecting him too much. He's made some comments in a few podcasts where he's like dealt some sympathy towards his siblings, which any sibling would do because your family. But I don't see it affecting him either way. If it was gonna affect him, I think it would have affected him in the Lakers series, and he played well. So I don't see it affecting him. He seems like a mature and a professional player.
Well said. So, and it's still within the basketball news of things. So we got two pieces of news for the women's sports. I know we don't talk about women's sports that much. I mean, this is only episode 2 after all. But Sue Bird, which I really want to talk about, the Sue Bird who recently retired, she is now going to join the Storm ownership group. So the team that she played for all those years, the Seattle Storm, she is now joining their ownership group. I think this is huge. What do you guys think of that?
I love it. I love it. When uh when players get empowered like this and they're able to actually make a difference, they get to affect a little change on the franchise had change on. I love it. It's good for the players and it's good for the growth of women's sports. Like I think having her in ownership is going to help with some of the charter issues that the women have been complaining about. They would love to have private, flights for these games. And I think that's going to be one of the main things Sue brings up when it's her time to speak, on top of revenue and all the other stuff that they need to get to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it furthers the game. I think Sue Bird has been one of the greatest players in women basketball. So to see her be able to contribute to the game in that way and give back to the organization that she's contributed her blood, sweat, and tears to is a great sign and a great testament and a great example to younger women and younger children to just say, hey, like, we're going to invest in women's sports. We're going to invest in the WNBA. And we see this next generation of young WNBA players who is pushing our culture forward, and you love to see it because you do want to see the WNBA get the same coverage, better pay because they're still athletes and they're great at what they do too. So you love to see it.
And I think that's going to happen really quickly because Caitlin Clark made her debut the other night, and to say that her game is transforming or is translating well is an understatement. And she was definitely taking ankles all over the place. She didn't have the most efficient shooting night, but I mean, it doesn't matter when you got the moves that she has. What do you guys think of Caitlin Clark's debut? Did you catch some of the highlights of her preseason debut?
She played well. I did catch the game. It was a good game. There's a lot of young WNBA players who are making their marks right now, and Caitlin Clark had a good game. She played well, and I do think give her some time that she's gonna be able to make her impact. But there are a lot of young WNBA players that have made their marks, such as Cameron Brink, Rakia Jackson, and the list goes on. I think the WNBA is in great hands.
Yeah, I agree. I think Caitlin Clark is she's going to be great for bringing eyes to the league for them for sure. But as quickly as I champion her, I also agree with T. And there's not just a Caitlin Clark in there. There's an Angel Reese, a Camila
Yeah.
Cardosa, Asia Wilson out in Vegas, who's just a back-to-back champions. Really, you want to bring up that guy or that woman, I should say. So, man, don't just pay attention to one woman. Watch them all. Caitlin Clark's amazing. Cameron Brink is amazing. There's a lot of amazing women in the WNBA.
You got Aria Gumake for the Dallas Stars, so I mean, there's a lot of good players in the WNBA.
Yep. Caitlin Clark spearheading that.
Did y'all see? I don't know if y'all saw the ratings for that game, but the ratings for the game was actually pretty insane. I think that's the only reason why I bring up Caitlin Clark as much as I do. I think that the ratings that she brings to the WNBA is going to really turn some heads, not only just from sports fans but investors, guys that want to put their sponsorships out there that want to endorse the stuff. So she's huge, and some of these other personalities like Angel Reese. I think her personality is just as big as her game. The game's in good hands, in both the men's and women's, but especially the women's. I mean, they're outdrawing some of the college men's top games, and I think the NIT was outdrawn. The whole NIT tournament was outdrawn by just one of those games.
Don't get it messed. Caitlin Clark is box office. Get it messed up.
Yeah.
Superstar.
And some unfortunate news. I mean, I don't really want to like drag this guy through the mud, but did y'all hear Alonzo Ball? He's opted into his player option with the Bulls. Probably a horrendous contract in hindsight, but I feel really bad about that Bulls team because I really felt that they could have built something. But now we're looking at it in with hindsight being like, wow, that was a really poorly built team. What do you guys think of Lonzo Ball? Do you think he can finally put his injury woes behind him, or do you think this is kind of going to be a lingering thing and that he probably won't ever be the same again?
Future Laker. I'm just saying it. I mean, I think he makes a
passive future Laker.
Yeah, I think he makes a Sean Livingston type comeback. He comes back to LA, helps LeBron win that fifth championship. That's what I think.
I think Lonzo is a good player. I really do. I do think that if he could stay healthy, that he could show that. Because a lot of people forget that when the Bulls were initially assembled with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic, that they played well. They actually went on a nice little run when they first got together. So it is unfortunate to see that he got hurt. But I do think that if he can find a way to stay healthy, that he can show his value because he really has changed his jump shot and become consistent. We'll have to see where it is now that he's been out for so long. But I do think there was so much potential with him. But him and Zach LaVine had a little bit of trouble. Well, not a little bit, a lot of trouble staying healthy, and that was the thing that kind of killed that Bulls team. But shout out to DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic because I think that they've been playing well over the last 2-3 years without Lonzo Ball. But I do think him opting in is a great sign. He seems to be trending towards healthy, so I'm going to wish him luck at getting back to that form because he was a good young point guard in this league before injuries plagued him.
Yeah, and in all seriousness, Lonzo, man, if he does get healthy, I don't think he's going to be – because he had a very big impact on defense. A lot of people don't talk about it, but Lonzo can sit in a chair and play some defense. the one thing that I think people are forgetting is that Alonso is a very high IQ player. So if he can just get healthy, he can still make an impact on passing the ball. And like T was saying, his shooting much improved, much improved. That's gonna help a team. And he's a big guard. He's 6'6". If anything, he can give you, I think, 10 and 10. You know what I mean? Like I think Lonzo can be still a very serviceable point guard in today's league. It's
For sure.
can he stay healthy? You know?
For sure.
I remember reading about his leg injury a few months ago when he had the setback. It doesn't look good. I think him opting in is his way of being like, look, I need to take this deal because I'm probably not going to pass a physical for other player or for other teams. So he wasn't going to get this money elsewhere, in my opinion. But
Definitely not.
we'll see
Definitely.
what happens with it. I'm rooting for the guy. I wasn't a fan of anything going on with the balls before, but it's been 2.5 years since this guy stepped foot on a court, and it took time for the sympathy to kick in. Now I feel bad. So I want to see this guy turn it around. His brother's killing it, so it'd be nice to see them both killing it. And I wanted to see the Bulls do well. DeRozan's one of the players I really like to see win. He's had a kind of a rough career. He missed out on the Raptors championship. He kind of rehabilitated his game a little bit with the Spurs. Then he comes back with the Bulls, and now he's playing with a bunch of injured guys. He's kind of an unappreciated all-star type player to me. One of those guys that
Yeah.
has been kind of stuck on teams that really can't get over the hump. And now he's what, 35, so he's running out of time there.
Had a great year too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he did.
did. Amazing year. But I mean, the clock's ticking, and I know he's getting frustrated because, look, he's only getting older. Another year, another year gone. And this is the
Yeah.
last year for Lonzo Ball's contract, by the way. He signed a 4-year deal to give you an idea of how long he's been hurt. So
Yeah.
he signed his first year, he signed that deal, he got hurt, and this is his 4th year in the deal now. So any closing thoughts or comments on the NBA?
I think we're in a great spot. The
Yep.
playoffs have been amazing so far, and it's been really exciting. Regardless of what you think about any of the teams, man, everyone has been playing their hearts out and really leaving it out there. Even the teams that got swept, gentlemen sweep or 4-0. And this, I, I think the playoffs are going exactly how we thought they would. They've been nothing short of spectacular in box office. There's been some game winners, some upsets, and just some flat out dominating and captivating performances so far. And I think that's going to carry on over into the second round. So I'm pretty excited about this next round, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, agreed. I'm with the same. Uh, Although the first round was a heartbreak for me, I enjoyed watching the first round of the playoffs. I thought there was a lot of drama, there's a lot of suspense, there's a lot of high level play. I thought the first round went well. If I had any complaints, Reggie Miller, please stop commenting games.
He
I
is
just don't need that.
insufferable.
I don't need that anymore. But other than that, it's all right. It's all right.
Reggie Miller, you shut your mouth.
Yeah, he is a bit insufferable. I think my only comment about it is turn injuries off. There's so many series that it could have been. I mean, as good as the
Yeah,
playoffs have been,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
it
man.
would have been so much better. I mean, so many star players, but this is the NBA. The unpredictable nature of it was part of the reason why we like it so much. So,
Yeah. I mean, the NBA is in good hands, man. Just like you said, though, man, turn the injuries off and let's ratchet this thing up a bit, man. Let's get it going.
turn the swag up.
so
No.
while we were gone, the NFL draft happened. I may be wearing the Dallas Mavericks shirt, but I'm not a Cowboys fan. You guys are Cowboys fans. Did you guys enjoy the draft? Did you guys get the players you wanted? What were your thoughts on the Cowboys selections?
In respect to Jerry Jones, no comment.
I love the Cowboys draft. I didn't like it at first, but
You loved it.
I love it because they were able to get value and they were able to address a lot of needs. They drafted Tyler Guyton with their first overall pick. They moved back from 24 to go to 29 and picked up a fourth round pick, which ended up being Cooper Beebe, who I think is the Cowboys' next center. And I think that was good value as well as a good pick there. So you have your left tackle, you have a new center potentially. They also drafted a linebacker and a defensive end. So I do think they got a lot of value in this year's draft. It's just going to be what is the upside, these players still have to go out and play, but I do think the Cowboys had a solid draft. I won't say great, but a solid draft for sure.
So my
Yeah,
Eagles, I know it's a surprise that I'm not a Dallas area fan, at least not for the Cowboys, but my Eagles, I think they had the best draft. Not trying to be biased here, but we got Quinyon Mitchell, we got Cooper DeJean, we got a bunch of really good players that are probably just going to sit and learn for a year or two. But I think that Howie was in his bag. I think he made like 7 trades to trade up and trade down to get the guys that he wanted. So I mean, it was I was extremely pleased with the draft. I was floating on cloud 9 watching the draft, especially when Quinyon Mitchell kept dropping. If honestly, if we didn't draft a single other player the rest of the draft, I'd have been happy with that. But then when I saw that Cooper DeJean kept falling, kept falling, and kept falling, and then he
Yeah,
called
getting
up.
him and Cooper DeJean was just, man, filthy. Y'all had a great
Yes.
draft.
Who do you think had the best draft? I'm curious. Who do you think out of all the teams, who do you think had the best draft?
It's got to be the
Oh,
Cowboys.
that's hard. I mean, honestly, I would have to go with the Bears because they drafted Caleb and Rumadunze. So you gave yourself a great skills position because they also picked up Keenan Allen. So you have Rumadunze, Keenan Allen, Caleb Williams. I think the Bears they're gonna have a new team going forward. And yeah, they're young, but I think the Bears have the best draft because of their picks and the value at what they got their picks for.
Yeah, you got to give it to the Bears just off optimism. Like they've set themselves. You would think they set themselves up to go on a run if they keep adding pieces. So
Yeah, to at least build a nice team going forward. They have the what you would think are good pieces. You have the veteran proven wide receiver. You have the young first round talent wide receiver. You have potentially the best quarterback of this draft, maybe generationally. So they've set themselves up core wise. So that's why I have to give the edge to the Bears because of the picks and the value at which they picked at in this year's draft.
yeah, there's a.
They also took our running back too. They have DeAndre Swift too.
That's what I was gonna
Exactly.
say.
They have a lot of skill, a lot of speed.
That's what I was gonna say. They look. There's another free agent running back out there that I think they haven't thought of. His name's Quentin. He's out of Texas.
Oh my
He's just sitting at
God.
home on the couch right now. So call him. You
I
know,
think that's cute, dog.
I'm just saying, man. There's other free agents out there to look at if you're in Chicago to
Check,
get better.
please.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of a certain free agent running back, you guys went and got Zeke back. What do you guys think of the return of Zeke? Do you think he moves the needle at all, or do you think this is just a desperate move by Jerry to try to save some face,
Desperate.
which is what I
I
think it
think
is.
I think when you look at what they did with free agency in the draft, you can see why it was a decent value pick. I'm not gonna say great because obviously Zeke at in the regular season 2.3 yards a carry, that's not great at all. Once Ramondre Stevens went down, he ratcheted it up a bit to 3.2 yards per carry, but that's still not good. But the Cowboys have peddled this running back by committee for next year. So you're gonna go with Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, Ezekiel Elliott, and amongst maybe one or two other running backs that get brought in. So it is going to be interesting. But I just think he's a veteran presence, a body, and someone to see and kick the tires around. And I mean, he changed from 21 to 15, so that's merchandise. And I just think the Cowboys are good at just kicking the tires and keeping people like involved and intrigued and in tune. But I don't think it'll move the needle at all. But he's a veteran presence, a body, and Dak's best friend, so it makes for a great storyline.
Today, Junior.
I hit you with your own thing. Yeah, that's an Ohio State number. It's cool to see that he went back to it. I'm really surprised you're able to name the Cowboys running backs because I didn't know who the hell they had, to be honest with you. So good on you for knowing your team because I couldn't have told you if you held a gun in my head who they had.
Exactly, man. Look, no matter how you slice it, you can name off every player on the Cowboys roster. Won't help you come start of the season. So very disappointed in them. You can wrap it any way you want. Bringing Zeke back is not going to win us a championship. And if it does, I'll eat this hoodie that I'm wearing right now.
I'm
I'll
gonna
take it
go ahead
off.
and write that down. He said he's going to eat his hoodie if they
If the
win a
Cowboys
championship with
win a
Zeke.
championship,
It's definitely a retool. It's definitely a retool season. They're not rebranding it as that, but it's definitely a retool season.
thank you.
And we'll see because Dak Prescott's in the contract year of his deal, so that's another thing that
I
we'll see
stand by
about
what I
it.
said.
So you mean Jerry lied when he said it? He was going all in.
Jerry says a lot of things. I think we'll just have to see what entails for the Cowboys. There's still a lot of time to get Dak's deal done, CD's deal done, and Michael's deal done to open up some cap space and make some more moves before July or the start of the season in
Yeah, who's gonna
October.
be
But
left by then though? Who's gonna be left?
exactly, the cupboard's going to be pretty much bare when it comes to free agents. But you do have your post June 1 cuts to look at as well and see if maybe there's some guys you can pick from there.
Look what it's
But
coming.
That's
Look
gonna
what
be
it's
a bunch of leftovers though. You know what I mean?
your
yeah,
post
not for sure.
June
I mean,
cut.
but that's how the Cowboys operate. They like to get a lot of bang for their buck at the bargain level. So this is right in tune with what they do and how they operate in the offseason.
I stand by
Maybe
what I said. If they win a championship, I'll eat this hoodie. I'm willing to bet on that.
a broken clock is broke is it's right twice a day. So I mean, maybe one day they will get this bargain basement shopping right and get where they want to be. But this is how the Cowboys operate. I don't see them changing it up, and it's going to be a retool season. It's looking like coming up. They're going to have to show me something different.
Do you think they're gonna make the playoffs, or do you think they're gonna miss the playoffs?
I think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think they'll do much or make much noise, but I think they'll definitely make the playoffs. They have the core pieces in places that they need them to be in, and they drafted well. So I do think they'll be formidable. But when it comes to those title contending teams, I don't think they'll compete as you've seen the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's kind of weird seeing them as an Eagles fan because I'm kind of just like, you guys wasted a long time of a Hall of Fame offensive line, but hey, whatever. Our window's wide open, so I'm kind of just happy to see them messing up. I'm more nervous about the Commanders. It seems like after they finally got rid of Dan Snyder, they seem to have the right guys in place. They finally retired Dale Green's jersey number after 20 years of him being retired. So that was good to see. But other than that, I can't think of anything else we need to talk about as far as NFL goes. You guys have any closing comments of the NFL that we missed?
Yeah, the Commanders, they seem to be going in the right direction. That's the only thing I could say about that. They drafted Jaden Daniels second overall, who seems to be a good quarterback and a good young quarterback. I like his mobility and I like his arm. And Dan Quinn's a hell of a coach, man. Even though he left the Cowboys, I don't have any hard feelings. You move on, you find a better opportunity. But I do think ever since Dan Snyder got up out of there, that they're starting to make better decisions. So they do give me a little bit of pause, and I do think they're going to be going forward a team that people can't just check the box of that's a dub. So we'll see what happens this upcoming season with the NFC. It might be one of those surprise seasons in the NFC, but I do think right now you'd have to give the edge to the Eagles at being atop of that conference right now.
Any closing comments for you, Q?
On the NFL? No.
Anything at this point.
Oh, yes. I would like to put myself in the running for the Lakers' next head coach vacancy.
Okay.
All right.
You want to be the
All
Cowboys
right.
running back and the Lakers head coach, huh?
I
No.
am a multiverse person.
We're gonna put that in your next under your name, Quentin, Cowboys running back and Lakers head coach.
Let's do it.
All right. So any real closing comments by either of you today?
No, I'm good. I'm if anything, I just can't wait to see what comes in the next second round. I'm really excited to see the second game of the Timberwolves and Nuggets series for obvious reasons. So I think
Yes.
that's what I'm most excited to see in the second. Timberwolves
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
Nuggets.
can't wait for that.
I'm
Can't
ready.
wait for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as we're recording Monday night, as you mentioned, the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, as well as the Pacers Knicks. So both tremendous games going to be coming on Monday.
It's gonna be good.
So I wanted to have you guys give your socials out there so that people can follow you. Where can they find you, Q, on social media?
Oh man, I'm on Instagram. I gotta look that social up.
All right, moving on to you, T. What's your handle and where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Quite Trill. You can find me on Instagram at The King's Clone, as well as on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your music from. Quite Trill.
Yeah, I'll get that right for the next pod. Sorry.
No, you're good. And for me, Hookshot Drew on Threads is pretty much the only platform I'm on, but you can follow me on there. I wanted to get your guys' music on here as an intro or outro, so keep a song in mind, and we'll probably have that as an intro if you guys are down.
Oh yeah, we could use Not Nice or something like that.
Yeah, looking forward to that for sure.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. Thank you for watching. This is Superb Sports Media. I am Hookshot Drew.
It's your boy T.
It's the Lakers' next head coach, Q.
Like, be kind, be nice, and you have yourself a good night. Thank you for watching.
Hey, love y'all.